I'm going to first say it is an honor and a pleasure to be speaking with you. I've seen you live a bunch of times. I saw an awesome bass clinic that you did at Sam Ash in Times Square a number of years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So thank you so much for your time. Is it a good day for you, aside from having to talk to the scum media? You know,
Not you though. Not you. You're not.
not me. Well, lean into it. Get a deluxe treatment. I guess that's the best way to put it. How long did you know that it was in the works for before it came out? Was it a long-term project?
Well, actually, it was done by a lot of other people who just took the ball and ran with it. Fortunately, the record has a great reputation, and the people who own the masters, I believe, I'm not sure who that is at this point, because they switched around. They really wanted to do a good job on this record. They love the record, and they've been doing the remastering, and the super audio thing sounds great. And I got a couple of audio friends that wrote to me and said, man, they did a spectacular job on this. So a couple of the golden ear guys, we call them, that are in recording studios and stuff, they commented on it specifically. So they did a great job, but they've been working behind the scenes for quite a while putting all this together, for which we are very grateful. And most of it is done without our knowledge at all.
Right.
Because generally I'm not, I know some people that are, but I'm not, I don't happen to be the guy that's hands-on every step of the way. I write songs, write and play, sing and perform, and record, but I've never had the kind of mind to do the business end of it, so I usually hand it off. So thankfully, the people that are doing this have done a bang-up job. They're releasing, I think there's 2 tracks on this current version of minus bass and minus guitar, so you can play along if you're a bass player or guitar player. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And, so there's more of that to come too. So they've done a great job of it.
I'm glad you're so upfront with that, because I get to interview a lot of the archivists who do these deluxe things. Like I recently spoke with the guys who basically are full-time tasked with the Beach Boys archives, because every year they have the 50-year copyright expiration project of what can we get out before it becomes public domain. And then I was curious, I was asking them, which Beach Boys actually listen to this before it goes out? And they went, Al Jardine does a little bit, and not really the others per se. So I was going to say, does Billy listen to it all, or does he go, hey, I trust them, they sound good?
Well, they're good at their job, so let them do their thing. And I'm honored, and like I said, very grateful that they're putting these things out in a righteous way, sounding great, packaged great, extra stuff. You know, everything I have, everything I own comes from a fan buying a T-shirt, a ticket, or a record. So the more they can do to sell, give them more. I'm very pleased about it. And when I first posted about it on my social media, we just got thousands of comments, and there wasn't a single negative. It was so beautiful. Just people around the world saying how much they loved the Lean Into It album and what it meant to them. And through the years, I've had situations where I'll get an email from somebody quite touching, and they're either some horrible thing, serious disease, or possibly facing death, or considering suicide, or someone close to them, and some music that I did got them through it.
Mm-hmm.
So a large amount of that is stuff from Mr. Big and from Lean Into It. It just meant a lot to a lot of people, and it's quite touching. Quite touching.
I can imagine. Do you have a favorite song on the album? I know that's kind of a stock question, but as somebody, you've often straddled the line between pop and prog, so I don't know what your favorite song would be in your case.
You're not going to take a guess?
I have no idea what your favorite song would be.
Well, it's hard to say, and it changes from time to time. I love Just Take My Heart. I love To Be With You. But Lucky This Time is a great pop, but heavy song. I love that. Alive and Kickin' too. It's got a story, and it's a little fun instrumental part in the middle, but it serves the song. So it'd be hard for me to pick one, but I do love the record. I remember playing the record for my friends when it was on a cassette
Hmm.
and we were just come back from recording it, and I know to this day now when I start playing stuff for my friends that I'm in good shape. There's records I've done that I love, and I thought they were good records, but I never really would, play it. I don't know why I wouldn't play it for my friends, but Eat 'Em and Smile, Lean Into It, the first Winery Dogs record, I've played for my friends. so Lean Into It for sure.
That was actually going to be another thing I was going to ask. Does Billy actually listen to his own music, or is he the kind of person that goes, hey, if I'm not working, I don't ever listen to my own music?
Well, I don't listen to it a lot, but it is interesting to go back and listen to it with kind of new ears as the years go by. You listen to it again and go, wow, that. And so many times me and Pat Torpy would talk. We get some demo we made when we first got together, and with a little handheld cassette recorder, and man, we're on. The vocals are on, the harmonies are in tune, and there's some cool, so it's fun to go back and check that stuff out. So I'm glad they included some of the demos and things on these collections. Really wonderful.
The reggae version of To Be With You Is To Be Found, which is fantastic. Now, another notable awesome thing about you is Buffalo. Your roots in Buffalo, they don't get talked about enough. I just watched the new documentary about Rick James. Have you seen that by any chance?
I haven't, but I want to see that.
I was trying to figure out, because anytime I meet somebody with Buffalo roots, I try and figure out what's the Billy Sheehan connection here. Like I was talking to Robert from the Goo Goo Dolls, and he's like, oh, we had a bunch of our gear stolen, and Billy gave me a bass. I'm like, oh, okay, there's another positive Billy Sheehan story. When Rick James was starting to get big, you had Talas, of course. Were there any run-ins that you had in that small scene?
No, he wasn't that big in Buffalo. He got on the national scene right away and began to make waves there. I don't know of him ever playing around town. And plus, there was a couple of dividing lines in Buffalo. There was the punk rockers had their clubs, straight up rock had their clubs. There wasn't any heavy metal clubs yet because metal wasn't that big in that thing. And there was I think it was WBUF was the black station that most everybody listened to, even though it was, soul and R&B, because they really had the best music. And so when we listened to it, we'd hear about these clubs that we didn't know where they were, and we never went to them. But there was a scene that was its own thing. I remember Aretha Franklin came through town and played, a bunch of huge artists. But it was sadly, there was a little bit of a dividing line. Typical northeastern industrial city, there was sections of town for Italians, Polish, Irish, German, Black, Jews, and Buffalo generally was pretty integrated, which was good influence on everybody. But there still was some element of that awful dividing line, which probably, if it wasn't there, there would have been much greater and more of it music, certainly. But I did not know Rick. But one of my favorite, I have a huge iTunes collection, and in it I have all this specialized stuff, demos and things. And a friend of mine called me one time. So it's a little bit of a long story. I apologize.
No, please. If you got us tell it, I want it. Please.
A friend of mine, Randy, a dear friend of mine, he calls me. He's got a bar in Pittsburgh that he bought. He was a Buffalo guy, moved out. The Hula Bar in Pittsburgh. And he goes, yeah, we're doing karaoke night. And I got all these Motown songs that have the band on the left channel and the lead vocal on the right. And I'm going, Randy, it couldn't be the original Motown tracks. I mean, it couldn't possibly be. I mean, it just wouldn't. I'd never heard of anything like that before, ever. So he goes, I think it's the real thing. I go, Randy, no, trust me. It's not. So my birthday comes along. I get a big box of 18 CDs of Motown karaoke. It's the real track, minus vocals. And on the right, totally isolated, is The Temptations, The Supremes, Michael Jackson with the Jackson 5, Rick James, all this stuff. And they're singing, and they're so good. There's no pitch correction. You can hear their feet on the floor. You hear them swallowing, a little cough in between takes.
Yeah,
and all in there. It's unbelievable.
Third floor studio, I believe Motown was.
Mind-blowing. So I think what they did is they recorded the vocals separately. So if you wanted to sing live, you could do that. Or sometimes in mastering, they want to put the vocal in at the very last time to see how loud the vocals should be in the mix. So that may be why those existed. I'm not sure exactly. Someone more knowledgeable than I would really know. But the Rick James Super Freak vocal is unbelievable. His pitch is right on, and it just kills on it. So I bring people over and play them that and blow their minds. Just it's so great. So I have a great love for Rick James. Unfortunately, we didn't cross paths, but I wish we would have.
I thought that your story was going to go in the direction of your friend giving you the Minor Birds master tape, the band that he had with Neil Young.
Yeah, that was up in Toronto because as Talas, we played in Toronto a lot. A lot of great, the Piccadilly Tube, the Gasworks, Larry's Hideaway, were just iconic. El Macambo, the Stones played there. We did a Talas live from the El Macambo show over Chum FM. I think that was the radio station in Toronto. Amazing memories then. But yeah, I was unfamiliar with them at that time.
The last Buffalo question I have, as a person who besides music covers travel, I was flown up to Niagara Falls for a press trip, and I was surprised to see that the Buffalo Music Hall of Fame is in the back of a Hard Rock Cafe in Niagara Falls. And there was the bass from you. There was a letter for Harvey Weinstein, which I'm sure has been taken down. There was a Goo Goo Dolls kind of thing. But when exactly did you get inducted into the Buffalo Hall of Fame? Like, when in your career was it? Was it the Roth band era, Mr. Big already being popular?
I think it might have happened while Talas was still around, I believe, because we were, the kind of a colossus, not to be self-aggrandizing, but, we had gone out, toured with Van Halen, big shows, open for Aerosmith, open for Blue Oyster Cult, open for Twisted Sister in New York, played New York City. So we were doing a lot, a great talent in Buffalo, but we began to break out in a very, very good way. So we were very pleased about that. I have framed in my music room studio that I'm in now, Harvey Weinstein side, the Stage 1 Rock Award. Stage 1 was the club that Harvey had.
Yeah.
That it would use to showcase national acts, but we'd play every Monday. And one Monday, he'd bring like a national act as the opening act because they were just on their way up. And I said, "Who's playing with us tonight?" And I remember it said something about a submarine, some submarine band. Submarine? What are you talking about, submarine? So the band got up, and it was U-2, which is the German submarine was called the U-2.
Yeah.
And I think a U-boat. And at least that's what I thought it was. And they got up and played and left a little note in the dressing room. Thanks a lot. Signed The Edge. Very nice. It sounded great. And nobody believed us for years that. U2 opened up for Talas. I said, no way. So years later, they played at Rich Stadium, the Bills play. And Bono, somebody bootlegged the show and sent it to me, so I have a recording of it. Bono was saying, the first time we played in Buffalo, we were just amazed that there were people there. And he goes, probably because we were opening up for a band called Talas. And you could hear the jaws dropping in sync of everybody. That it's true, it's really true. And so they were very generous to us to acknowledge us like that. And then the Police came through on their station wagon tour, and they used our PA and lights. We didn't perform with them then, but I was at that show right up front watching them. So Harvey's club was a significant thing. But and I'm somewhat proud to say that Harvey and I ended on very bad terms. It was like this, and I think I saw him in an airport years later, and we just kind of. Yeah, how you doing? Okay.
But being from Long Island, New York, half of my friends all went to SUNY Buffalo. And when they're going there and they want to say, hey, Buffalo's cool. We've got the Goo Goo Dolls. We've got Harvey Weinstein. We've got that's kind of how that went. I'm sure it's a different speech these days.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
But back to you and your success here. The Lean Into It reissue is not the only thing you've been working on, to say the least. Another Winery Dogs album, I believe is.
Yeah. New Winery Dogs. I just got back from LA this weekend, and for our second writing session, each one for about 8-10 days or more, we just get together in a little basement room. There's a little kit, a tiny bass amp, and a little guitar amp, and start writing like bands used to do.
Right.
And that's an essential element for us because we want to do it in that way, to really make it from the heart, not just fill in the blanks and throw songs together. We wanted to all be a part of the process. And we've got a bunch of songs now. We're doing some more work on them. I think we have what we need to do a record, and we're going to be doing all that work over the next couple of weeks or months. Things are slow because of COVID, and you can't do the things that you need to do, which is evidenced also in another record I'm working on, the new Talas record.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, we had when I left Talas in '85, that lineup. I left behind and went off to David Lee Roth. They hung out for a little while, and eventually it fell apart, and that was the end of Talas. So a couple of years ago, they contacted me to do a show, and that's a long story I won't get into, but we ended up doing this show, and it was really great. We had a good time, so we said, well, let's go record all the songs that we used to play live in our live set in '85, and we thought, yeah, we can, tighten them up and change the lyrics. And I go, no, let's leave them just the way they were. Let's play them exactly how we used to play them. So a little time machine going back to that age. And so we did it, got it all together. At one point, had all the original members on it from that version of Talas. Mitch Perry on guitar, Mark Miller on drums, amazing. Myself, and then, of course, Phil Narrow. Now, sadly, when Phil finished the vocals, he is having a lot of medical trouble, and he passed away. So for me, that new Talas album serves really only one purpose, is to really define and cement the legacy of Phil Narrow. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. He sang his ass off, and he just did great on this record. So that's mixed. That'll be going into the next stages of getting it released. But I'm so glad we were able to get an amazing performance from Phil. So the world will know. It was a wonderful guy and just a great, great, great singer. And Mark Miller on drums, too, just mind-blowing. Ray Luzier from Korn is a dear friend of mine. He said how he used to take old videos when we play in Pittsburgh, and somebody had an old handheld camera, jittery lines, and they'd be watching Mark Miller play drums. And the first photo of Dream Theater with Mike Portnoy, his bass player and guitar player, Mike's wearing a Talas shirt because he used to come see us play all the time in Brooklyn. So he had quite a legacy with some really great drummers of today. So he's as good as ever. So it's we're real pleased with the record, and that'll be coming out soon. So that's some other things I've been working on.
Yeah, you always have some kind of a supergroup or a trio record going on at the same time as another one. So credit to you for not going, I used to do this. You always have pushed the ball forward. But now I'm going to drag you back with some old questions.
Okay.
And I first have to thank you for making one of my favorite albums of all time happen, and that is Sonrisa Salvaje. Because the story goes, you're the one who gave Diamond Dave the article that showed that 20% or so of all the hard rock music was purchased by people who spoke Spanish. So credit to you for that. Do you remember around how long it took for him to cut all those vocals?
I cut them with him. I did the all the harmonies are just me on that record. So we went into a studio in LA in the evening, but during the day, Missing Persons were there.
Oh. So
Terry's crazy electronic kit was set up, and the microphone that Dale Bozio sang on, it had her lipstick and makeup all over the windscreen, so I could smell her perfume. So I thought I got a kick out of that because she was a beautiful girl, and so we sang. That's why I sang it phonetically, but Dave is pretty good at Espanol. He can sing, can speak it pretty well. So he just coached me on Vuelto Loco El Calor and Tímido, Tímido, Hasta Luivido. And so we got to sing it like that. But it was a I don't know how successful it was because it wasn't my record deal. That was Warner's and Dave. Yeah. So, but every time I go to South America, man, people got them all over the place, and I've signed thousands of them down there. But what a riot! I thought it was a cool idea. And a couple other people I've tried to have do something in another language, but unless you actually speak it, you can kind of make a fool of yourself pretty easy. So fortunately, Dave, he knew what he was doing, and we had to change some lyrics though because. Especially Mexico being a Catholic country, they don't like a lot of lewd stuff. So I forgot which
Going
song.
crazy, probably messing with the mayor's daughter, maybe something like that.
Yeah, some things got changed. I don't know what that, because I didn't speak it, but a couple of references. Bump and grind became something else. I forgot what they called it.
Awesome.
But they were a little concerned about the atmosphere at the time, because that was 86.
86, yeah.
Things were different back then than they are now.
And so Timido or Shy Boy, whatever you want to call it, is your song. And something else I'm curious about, the Crazy from the Heat movie script, we read it, or at least somebody who I work with read it recently, and it mentions in there that Shy Boy is playing like in some scene of the movie. Yet, wasn't that written before you were in the band?
They worked on that script. I got in pretty early, right after the Ingve tour. Dave flew me out, and it was before Steve or Gregg or anybody. We hung out, and they were working. I would go to the movie office to go see everybody during the day on the. I think it was on the CBS lot.
Yes, the CBS.
So they were working all the time, and their script writers and stuff were there. So we kind of already had it mapped out as I was there. So they didn't write it before I got there, but once I was there and Dave decided to do that song, it was concurrent in the time frame there that it would be in there. But I still have my copy of the script too, so it's pretty good. I stayed up and read the whole thing when I first got it. It was pretty exciting. I think it might have been a riot to do, and a lot of the clothes we had on stage. I got this big long leopard coat. That was the pimp coat from whoever played that character, and
so it got that far into the process where they were costuming.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. That is something that I've never seen covered before. People have talked about there being multiple passes on the script, but not that it was so far to that point.
Yeah, it was moving right along. I remember it was a drag when CBS pulled the plug. Movie business, you think the record business is cutthroat. You got a couple steps up to the movie business. It's unbelievable. And I was at the office with Dave the day it came down, and I think he had just moved his office to Sunset Boulevard too, right on the Strip. And I went there, and I remember saying, "Hey, you know what? We got a great record. Let's just go out and tour and do what we do." And we did. And so I felt bad for Dave because he worked his ass off on that movie, and he put his heart and soul in it. But that's Hollywood movie business. Put your heart and soul into something, they will yank it out of your chest. Thank you very much.
Well, two more quick Dave questions, then you're a free man from this press day. And the first one is, do you know if any live shows were recorded from the Eat 'em and Smile tour? Because, of course, archives are archives at the major labels. You never know what's in there, hence all this Mr. Big stuff coming out 30 years later. But in your case, do you remember any shows specifically being filmed or recorded?
It's so incredulous to me that I often question my own memory. But as far as I know, on that hard drive right over there, there's a full show, video and audio, of Eat 'em and Smile. Now, I don't own that. It's Dave's show, so I wouldn't violate his trust and
of course,
do anything with it. I don't think I've ever even shown anybody the thing, but I have it. I have a full video of the Eat 'em and Smile tour, pro shot and pro recorded. So
that'll be the blabbermouth headline, by the way.
Oh, watch that! Yeah, those bastards. Sheehan refuses to tell Dave that. No, I would hand it to Dave instantly. It's his property, and I'm the caretaker for it. I'm happy to. I hope someday that would be nice to put it on. I'd love to play together again too, but who knows? It's Dave's gig if he wants to. I know myself, Steve, and Gregg. We've expressed many times we'd love to do it. We just had a get together. The last Winery Dog session, I took a night off and went to Steve's house and met Gregg, and we made some pizzas and told stories. We get together often and tell stories of the old days. It's a riot. It's so much fun. We have a blast. So we would love to do it at some point. But yeah, I do think I have a pro shot video. I got to double check because it's funny. Something that I know is true, and I've seen it, held it in my hands, but it for some reason it gets categorized as it can't possibly be true in my head because so many people have asked about it. So when we get off, I'm gonna double check and make sure it's there.
Sounds good. And the last thing I want to know, I do like the Skyscraper album a lot. I one time got high and bought 3 copies on vinyl without realizing I did it until they all came in the mail. But the bass solo on the bottom line, it sounds like it's reversed and assembled in a way, but do you remember how long it took to put that solo together?
I'm playing the song in my head right now to try to remember that.
Because that is an intense.
That's my bottom line. No, it was all there. As far as I know, see, I go in and record bass alone. They have the drum tracks recorded, the guitar, and I'd be in there by myself with the engineer. Dave was generally there, but not always. And that's one of the reasons why the album didn't sit right with me, because we didn't play it like we did Eat 'Em and Smile. But I give Dave credit for it. Let's do something different, you know, instead of play the formula. He had the courage to do something different. So as much as the record isn't a personal favorite of mine, I think it was a well-recorded record, and I'm glad Dave took a chance. But as far as I know, I wish we could have done some shenanigans, because I wanted to, you know, more. But I basically come in, okay, do the solo, 1 take, okay, this is it, bro. You got to hit it or not. So there's a little bit of pressure to play it righteous, because we weren't doing a lot of multiple takes and a lot of fixes and stuff. They just want to do the bass. Okay, here we go. I hope I get this right. So as far as I know, I'll review that when we get off of here too, and see if that's actually the case.
I watched a video of Matt Bissonette playing it, and he's definitely looking down in his hands when he's playing it, because you knocked it out of the park with that one. And Matt is amazing as well. But
he's a wonderful guy too. I love Matt.
Absolutely. But can't thank you enough for your time and all the many, many years of great music, and looking forward to that Winery Dogs record. Great. Well, you're very kind. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully you don't get poached and pilfered by those parasites. Well, keep my fingers crossed. Send me a link when it's done, and I'll post it for you. Promise, Billy. Have a great rest of the day. Take care there. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye now. Paltrocast.